All right, today we're going to tear down one of the most legendary self-help books ever written, Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. We're going to get right into its secret blueprint for success. So let me just start with a really big question for you. What if success wasn't about luck? What if it wasn't random, but was actually a formula, something you could learn and repeat? That's the electrifying idea at the very core of this book. And this wasn't just some theories somebody cooked up. The author, Napoleon Hill, spent 2 decades, that's 20 years, on a mission studying over 500 of the most successful people of his time. We're talking absolute titans like Andrew Carnegie, Harry Ford, and Thomas Edison, all to figure out what that exact formula was. And what he came back with was what he called a secret success formula. It's basically a set of principles that, believe it or not, has been inspiring people for almost 100 years. So let's break down what that formula actually is. So the result of all that incredible research was this book, first published way back in 1937. Now, here's what's really interesting. Despite the title, this book isn't really just about getting rich. It's more of a manual for taking control of your own life, for mastering a way of thinking that can help you achieve pretty much any goal you set for yourself. So how does this blueprint actually work? Well, everything, and I mean everything, starts with step 1, master your mind. Hill was absolutely convinced that all achievement, big or small, begins with the work you do inside your own head, long before you ever take a single step in the real world. He breaks this whole mindset thing down into 3 core pillars. First, there's desire. And this isn't just, oh, I kind of like to have that. No, this is a burning, all-consuming, crystal-clear purpose. Second, you've got to have faith, a totally unshakable belief that you can and you will achieve it. And third, there's autosuggestion, which is basically the practice of telling your subconscious mind what you want over and over again until it just accepts it as truth. And here's the real key to this first step. Hill's whole argument was that your thoughts, when you juice them up with that intense purpose and unwavering belief, they literally start to shape your physical reality. Mastering your inner world isn't just a good idea. For him, it was the absolute, non-negotiable first move. Okay, so once you've got your head in the right place, it's time to actually do something. And that brings us to the second part of the blueprint. Step 2, build your plan. This is where you start turning all those powerful thoughts into real, tangible results. Hill lays out a few crucial actions here. First, you need specialized knowledge. You can't just wish your way to success, right? You need the specific skills to get the job done. Next up, you have to create an organized plan, because an idea without a strategy, well, it's just a daydream. And finally, and this one's huge, you have to master decision. Hill found that successful people make choices fast, and they stick with them. They just crush procrastination. But hey, even the world's greatest plan is going to hit a wall eventually. And that brings us to what Hill thought was the most critical action of all, persistence. Just look at this powerful quote from him. Persistence is to the character of man as carbon is to steel. Wow, think about that. It's the one ingredient that makes you unbreakable. Okay, so you've got the mindset, you've got the plan. Now Hill introduces some more advanced concepts. Let's get into step 3, amplify your power. He truly believed there were forces you could tap into that would act like rocket fuel for your efforts. One of his most famous ideas is the Mastermind Alliance. So what is that? Well, the official definition is right there, but it's basically this. You get together with a few other smart, motivated people, and you all work together in harmony towards a specific goal. The idea is that you create this collective brain, a shared intelligence that is way, way more powerful than any one person working alone. Now, he also dove into some ideas that are, well, a little more abstract and honestly, a little controversial. He wrote about something called sex transmutation, which isn't really about sex. It's about taking your most powerful creative energy and channeling it into your work. He also talked about developing a 6th sense, which is really a highly tuned intuition that lets you tap into brilliant ideas. He saw these as the final expert-level techniques for peak performance. So, that's the whole blueprint in a nutshell. But, and this is a big but, the book was written almost a century ago. We have to ask the big question, does any of this stuff actually still work today? And if we're being honest, it's a bit of a mixed bag. On the one hand, the book's strengths are totally timeless. The ideas are rooted in basic human psychology, it gives you real steps you can take, and you could apply it to pretty much any field. But the criticisms are fair too. Some of the more metaphysical stuff can feel a little dated, the book can be pretty repetitive, and of course, there are no examples from our crazy digital world. So, what's the verdict on its relevance? At the end of the day, yes, some of the concepts and the language might seem a little old-fashioned. But that core message about the raw power of a focused mindset, having clear goals, and just being relentlessly disciplined, that is just as powerful today as it ever was.
So, what's our final verdict on this legendary book? Well, it's probably no surprise that our source material gives Think and Grow Rich a solid 5 out of 5. It's an undisputed classic for a reason.
Ultimately, this book is still a life-changing classic because it gets to the very foundation of what makes people successful. If you actually apply these principles with discipline, they can genuinely transform your mindset, your career, and your overall confidence. And that really brings us to the book's final challenge, a challenge to every single person who reads it. The blueprint exists. The formula has been laid out. The only question left is, what will you build with it?